Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Well, there's plenty of suitors, but Derek Chisora, the battle-tested gatekeeper, he looks like he's emerging as the favourite to face Anthony Joshua now that the Whyte-Joshua fight has been cancelled, with Dillian Whyte failing a performance-enhancing drug test. So, Chisora, and this is really interesting, and he's been pasting different bits and pieces all over his social media, as you can see here on screen. Basically, he should be the one that should be stepping up and taking this fight. And I guess the thing is, Derek Chisora may know something we don't, because you had David Haye going on to Seconds Out, claiming that Derek Chisora spoke to him about a week ago and said that Dillian would fail a test and had been training for the Joshua fight. He would get it, and he had basically set up a pretty hardcore camp to the same levels as for his fight with Alexander Usyk. What was that, about 3 years ago? And that he would face Joshua once Whyte was out. So very interesting comments from David Haye, and he was going on and waxing lyrical about Chisora, this, that, and the other, brings it London fans and making the case for the fight. Part of it, I was like, how much is this David Haye, the con man and salesman? How much of this is actually accurate? Is this more him embellishing something where Chisora said, I'm the backup fighter if Whyte fails the test, or if he's out, I'm the guy that's going to be called up? Because it would make some sense in terms of Chisora being the backup, because it's a fight in London, Chisora being a London fighter, so you can kind of go, and with his popularity with fans in general, you know, there are some threads to go, well, he could be a guy who could step in. I don't know if everyone would be happy with it. I mean, basically, Chisora has been, there's been diminishing returns, should I say, in recent years. And he did get an undeserved shot at Tyson Fury. And I actually had someone coming to the channel for the first video about Whyte failing, saying that Chisora would be a good test for Joshua given his fight with Fury. Chisora didn't win a second of that fight. He just got beaten up over the course of 12 rounds. So, I mean, you have a situation that Anthony Joshua, we're expecting him to fight at a certain level. But actually, who knows where Joshua is at, who knows where Whyte was at. But I think we do know where Chisora is at, and he is a diminished version of himself. But that doesn't mean at a week's notice that it's not going to happen. And given some of the factors, if they're ever going to have this fight with Joshua and Chisora, they have to have it now, otherwise it could never happen. And I know some people will say, oh, they're friends and all this sort of stuff, it's not going to happen, it could never happen. Friends fight all the time. They put their, personal situations aside, and they do it for the business side. And remembering, if Chisora faces Joshua, Joshua gets a cut of Chisora's purse because he manages him. So Joshua's all about money. If he keeps it in-house, it's an in-house money go-round. So think about that. But in terms of what Haye was saying, how much credence and credit do we give it? How much is David Haye BSing here? Anyone's guess, but he certainly put Chisora's name out into the front. And Chisora probably was one of those few guys who was already training. He was going to be on that card. He'd been announced to face Gerald Washington. Maybe that was a ruse. Maybe the whole situation with Whyte was about to blow up, and because they only added Chisora to the card a couple of days ago. You have to consider this, that maybe something was already bubbling along, that it was just a case about announcing the failed test. So maybe someone got the inside oil early and they were like, we have to actually shore up something that we can put Joshua in with a replacement opponent. But obviously the other option is don't have Joshua fight. Pull him from the card. He's fought last-minute opponents previously, or Carlos Takam didn't look great in that fight. Andy Ruiz Jr., even though people think it was extremely short notice, it was actually about 6 weeks or so. So still relatively short notice, but not exactly 1 week's notice or 12 days as in the case of Carlos Takam. But plenty of people have been saying, give Chisora a shot. Obviously, some of these people that, Chisora is reposting that sort of stuff. I mean, I guess the thing is, do we want to see it? How does this affect the whole sort of thing and the pay-per-view, all that sort of stuff? I think it would have a huge effect. I know that people might say Derek Chisora's London fans and all that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, he's a gatekeeper who's lost every time he's stepped up to world level. And that's just a fact. He will bring the effort and intensity for as long as he can, but ultimately, he is pretty washed at this point, has to be said. He'll be chasing a final big payday, and he'll want it. He'll be lobbying for it, etc. But does he deserve it, and do we want to see it? Because the thing is, it's all well and good trying to give your mate a payday, but is it actually going to do business? Because that's what Matchroom and DAZN are in the business of, trying to make money, not just trying to pay guys, who are friends of people. I mean, we obviously saw Tyson Fury do that for that fight with that Fury and Chisora had the rematch, or the trilogy, I should say, fight that no one wanted, and ultimately it wasn't a good fight. Sam Jones, Boxing Insider, he's been lobbying for it, saying put Derek in as the replacement. He's had a full camp, give him his 53rd chance at the big time. But the problem is, you've had Eddie Hearn not so long ago, the end of 2022, and see here on screen, plenty of evidence on the internet, the receipts are out there. I think Chisora should retire. That was after he fought Fury. Eddie Hearn thinks Derek Chisora should retire. Plenty of videos out there, news stories, where Hearn has said he's done, retire. So what happens is but this is the thing, a promoter will change their tune to suit their position at the time. So if it is Chisora, they will basically go, okay, well, we're just going to repitch this, London fans and, all the effort. Derek Chisora will give it a go. He, who knows where Joshua's at. Maybe he can upset the apple cart, all these sorts of things. But, Hearn's on the record. He said Chisora should retire. It's hard to walk that back. Then again, he's a promoter. Basically, if his lips are moving, he's probably lying. Other people have put their hand up. Joseph Parker's manager, David Higgins, says Joseph Parker is already booked to fly back to the UK this weekend. He's fit, ready, willing, and able to fight Anthony Joshua at 02. The thing is, do we need to see that fight? We've already seen it. And it didn't catch fire. I know some people blame the referee, but both those guys were cautious and didn't pull the trigger. Put away the inside fighting. They didn't actually go to war like they said they would. You've also had Otto Wallin say that he's ready, willing, and available, in shape, etc. But he also said, I need to get paid. So probably he's going to, price himself out of the market again. But also the question, would Joshua, if he's looking to face Deontay Wilder, want to face a southpaw? See, that's the issue. I did mention in a video about Robert Helenius's return. He got a tune-up win. He's 6'7", sort of similar dimensions to Deontay Wilder. Is that an option? Jarrell Big Pharmacy Miller came out. That's not going to happen. You had Hazim Ruckman, not going to happen. Andy Ruiz Jr. has also made a play for the fight. We need that trilogy Eddie Hearn. Do we? Ruiz didn't train for the second fight. And yeah, it was pretty disgraceful. Andy Ruiz was so delusional after that, he thought the third fight was going to happen within 6 months to a year. He's done nothing really so far to kind of get fans interested in that third fight. And let's face it, once bitten, twice shy. Why would they call Andy Ruiz Jr. in again at short notice? Doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. But Dillian Whyte obviously has thrown out the gauntlet for others to have a shot at this fight. Is it going to be Derek Chisora? Someone else? Does David Haye really have the inside oil, or did he make all that stuff up, or most of it? Probably. It's David Haye after all. He's kind of like Eddie Hearn, couldn't lie straight in bed. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.